Alrighty guys, welcome everybody to this week's swing trading live stream. I hope you guys all enjoy it, and guys, we've had a phenomenal week. We are up a little over $2,000 in about 4 days of trading, which is fantastic. So in today's video, we are going to be breaking down the strategies, the approach, and if you guys are just getting started with swing trading, we're going to be talking about tips and tricks. We're going to be looking at stocks that we're holding, stocks that we called out last week, and it's just going to be a fun environment where we're going to pretty much talk about how to swing trade. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe, because we started a new subscriber goal. We are headed to 100 subscribers for this goal for the next 29 days. I definitely think we easily can hit it. So make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget, if you guys want to learn more about swing trading, trading in the market, check out our school, Code Lions, because I'm a Detroit Lions fan, and they won. Code Lions for 50% off. So check it out down below. Private live streams, quizzes, lectures, a group chat, all of that stuff. If you guys want to take trading serious, I highly recommend it. So let's dive into this. So swing trading, I titled this video, how to build a $100,000 trading account starting from zero. So I want to talk about that, and then we'll talk about our swing trading stocks that we're holding. So swing trading, how do you build a $100,000 portfolio? Guys, if you guys are just starting out, if you have $0 in your account, the first thing I would recommend doing is opening up a broker that offers paper trading. Paper trading is using simulated money to practice your entries, your exits, your risk management, and just overall building up that confidence. Now, during this time, I would recommend highly investing into education, trying to learn as much as you can, and checking out our course, Code Lions, 50% off. But honestly, just take a step back from the money aspect of trading and just focus on learning as much as you can. The broker that I recommend for that is Moomoo. I can throw them in the description there for you guys. You guys can get up to 20 free stock. But having a broker here that offers paper trading is awesome. Let me throw this in for you guys. There we go. All right, it is in the chat. It is in the chat there. It should be. But building up a $100,000 portfolio is definitely doable. You just got to focus on base hits rather than home runs, and just trying to just learn. Don't expect to make $1 million today. Just focus on base hits, and you'll be in a great spot. When I first started trading, I really went at it the completely wrong approach. I funded an account with, I think it was about $1,500 to $2,000, and I burned through it. If I would have just taken that money and invested it, half of it into education, and then the other half I could have slowly built up, I would be way better off. But anyways, focus on just base hits. A lot of people think you need to have returns of 100%, 200% a year, but the reality of it, those 1%, 2%, 3% returns that just compound, that's where you're going to make your money. It's not going to be off trying to find a stock for $1 and selling it for $200. No, it's finding a stock for $1 and selling it at $1.10, but just doing it very, very consistent. So wanted to talk about that because we've had some questions about it. People have been messaging me saying, I want to build, I'm starting from zero. How do I build up to a larger account? So just focus on base hits and this strategy here. So, all right, so let's chat about it here. Let me actually move this up a little bit. There we go. And if you guys have any questions, you guys are more than welcome to ask in the chat room. All right, so we are good to go. All right, so we've had a very, very good week. So this past week, right now, we're up about $2,100. You guys know we took a trade on NVIDIA, Sound AI, and then AVGO. Now, for me in this, in my approach here, our P&L percent, 16%, 10, and 13. Guys, that is incredible. That's awesome. Trading like this, it just does happen, right? When swinging for base hits, you occasionally get that home run. That's just the reality of baseball. That's just the reality of trading. So let's talk about some of the positions. Any questions you guys have as we talk about it, feel free to ask there. And don't forget to check out our course where you guys can learn how to trade. Code Lions. But all right, so let's get this up. So you guys can see here for this, I have a trading checklist here. We'll put it right there. Okay. So let's go through this here because we have stock on an upward trend, support on the daily, RSI under 30. The 30 is definitely can be adjusted. Yeah, I think it's more along the lines of RSI. Look at the RSI. Look at previous points of contact, ideally under 30. Earnings, when's the earnings date? You never want to hold a position for a trade through an earnings. Risk and reward, you want about a minimum of 2 to 1, 3 to 1, and then hourly support or some sort of breakout there. And if you guys sign up in the course, you guys do have access to this trading journal, so check that out there. And for all the course members, you guys should have access to this now. I know there was some issues with it. And I think it was the link was messed up and it wasn't on public. Something happened, but I fixed it. It should be good. But all right, so we took a trade on AVGO. AVGO here, let me make this a little smaller, this chat a little smaller here. Let's put it like this. Normally it leaves. I'm trying to find the best spot. We'll go here. No, I don't know. Maybe here. We'll go there. That's fine. You guys don't need to see my face right now. Yeah. Okay. Anyways. All right. So going back to that checklist here, stock on an upward trend with AVGO checks off that box very, very easily. The next thing is support on the daily. So the point of entry here, we got in because it hit that 200-day moving average line. Obviously, that acts as support where it hits it and we have that good move. We have that confirmation of, it acting as support in the past. Hits it and we had this great move. The RSI at the time was about a 32, which yes, normally we want under a 30, but the last time I was trading for a 32 was all the way back in mid 2022 where the stock went from about $39 to about $50 in about little less than a month. The next thing here is earnings. They actually just released earnings before we bought this position. That's why we had the opportunity. Often with trading is any action is often an overreaction. So, we saw this opportunity entering, stock has moved up very, very well. The next thing here is risk and reward. The risk and reward here is awesome on this trade. It was near and around a 3 to 1, which is nice to see. Okay, ideally, the higher up you go. So if it's a 6 to 1 or 5 to 1, those are trades that you could be wrong, 4 or 5 times and still make money off those types of moves. So the next thing here that we look at is hourly. So you guys can see it did form this nice hourly right near and around the 136 area, hits it several times. Honestly, we didn't even buy it there. We bought in on the breakout here of the 90-day moving average line, with our entry being near and around the 145 range. And the stock rallied its way up. There could have been several approaches here you could have entered. You could have entered on the support where it comes in contact, establishes the support on the 90 again. So we had the breakout, curls down, taps it. We had the good move. The next thing here you could have entered on would have been on the breakout of the 200-day. Now, the reason I say that is because the last time it broke out was back in here where the stock broke out, hit it, and we had that good move. So there was a lot of good opportunity here. And another reason I like it right now is we have the golden cross, which is a very bullish thing for the stock to do. So I'm excited for this one here to continue to move up. Our stop loss is near around the 160 range. So if it does dip down, no issues. We'll take our profit and move on to other opportunity. So for some reason, guys, I don't know why this text is not deleting. Well, oh well. Maybe we'll just mute it for now. We'll mute it for now and then we'll fix it later. All right. So the next trade here was on Sound AI. So Sound AI here was a great play. Stock that's on a nice upward trend, sold off down to the 200-day moving average lines. You guys know I'm a huge moving average line nerd. So you guys can see my thumbnail maker. I'm trying to find, I lost the, there we go. There we go. All right, we are good. I just want to make sure I have the chat up. All right, so you guys can see it hit that 200-day moving average line several times in the past. Hits it, good buying pressure. Hits it, good buying pressure. Hits it, good buying pressure. Recently sold off down all the way down to the 430 range, and the stock rallied its way up. Now for this one, we really didn't get that good of a fill. I mean, obviously we could have bought lower, but with trading, you know, you're never gonna buy at the peak bottom and sell at the peak top. That's never gonna happen. It's very hard to do that. So I look for support or I look for a breakout. In this instance, we entered near and around the 450 range, and the stock rallied its way up. There was a bunch of opportunity to enter near and around that 90-day moving average line. You guys can see it just rallied its way up. Now this one here, one of the other reasons I liked it is we had pretty much two supports on the daily time frame here. Obviously we had the 200-day moving average line, but we also had, you know, a nice little trend there, as you guys can see, where it hits it each and every time. We just had that great move of buying pressure. So honestly, that could have played a factor as well. So I think about the thing about swing trading is the more supports you have, the better off you're gonna be. So I think this just helped give me a little more indication of great buying pressure out of this one here. Now this one here released earnings about a month ago, so I knew it wasn't coming up anytime soon, because on the quotes tab it didn't show it. I mean, I could have Googled it, but I knew it wasn't coming soon, because earnings is paid quarterly, so four times a year there. And if you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to ask. Now the last one here that we're going to talk about of stocks we're holding, obviously, is Nvidia. Nvidia, you guys know we had a great entry. We made about 16%, made a little over $1,000. Now this one here, we'll just start on the RSI. The RSI was at a 35. So yes, normally we want under 30, but what you got to do is just look back at previous points of contact. So 35 last time was in here where we had this good move. Previous to that was in here where we had this good move. And as you go through and you see the last points of contact on that RSI, we've had good buying pressure there every single time. So I just think that represented a really, really good opportunity to enter the stock at a cheap price, on a trend line, on a support line. Had heavy support in this range. You guys can see the great amount of buying pressure. Average cost was $102, which the peak bottom was $100. So we entered there really, really good. So I'm very, very happy with this trade. And the craziest thing, guys, is these stocks here that we traded, we made good money off of. But some of the stocks that we called out did a lot better. For those of you that remember SMR here, a stock that we were talking about on Monday, you guys can see that this play would have been absolutely fantastic. It broke out on that 200-day moving average line, curled down, tapped that $8 mark, and rallied its way up. Hourly looked really nice here, hit that 200-day moving average line, rallied its way up, offered a great risk and reward. Where do you put your first stop loss when you first get in? So it all depends. So like for like the, you know, AVGO, I would go a little bit down below these moving average line, or yeah, down below that 200-day moving average line. For Sound, similar thing. I would go pretty much down. I would look, you see, if you look close, you can see that wick. I would keep it pretty much down below that, around that $4 range. For Nvidia, this one here was kind of that mixed feeling, because looking at it, you could have several different approaches, right? You could keep your stop loss below the 200-day or above the 200-day moving average line, but risk here the 200-day acting as support. So if you leave it here, let me remove this, and we'll remove some of this stuff so you can see it a little clearer. So if we set our stop loss right here, the downside of setting it there is if it comes and hits it and you get stopped out, it could hit that 200-day moving average line and act as support, and you could have just had a bad entry. But if you keep it down below here, your risk and reward is a little skewed. So what I did here is I went to the hourly, and I looked back, okay, and I just kind of kept it a little bit below about $98, right in that range on that first dip. That's where I kind of had my stop loss in mind, where if it does dip down, we'll just exit the position. Just because it acted as support, you always want to keep it somewhat below a support line. And the reason why is because if you keep it here and it hits that move as support, and your stop loss is here, you'll get stopped out and the stock will rally up without you. So try to keep it down just a little bit below a support line. Or if there is no supports, another little trick you guys can do is keep it below like a whole number or a half number. So if you bought a stock at, let's just say, hypothetical, at $1.20, you could keep your stop loss below that dollar, because what we see a tendency is a lot of buying pressure enter near like full dollar, so a dollar even or $1.50. But yeah, so it's just a little tip that I always do. Maybe it's just subconscious, but I've always done it and it's worked pretty decent for me. So, but going back to SMR here, SMR, really great trade. I mean, this thing is up 12% today. And this is the thing about trading, is stuff like this is just gonna happen, where you're gonna put a stock on your watch list and it's gonna follow all the right moves. But at least for me, I didn't want to go. I had a little over 10,000 invested in all three of these, so I didn't want to just start loading up. I mean, I could have, but I didn't want to just start loading up, even though there was a play. I don't know. But GE, another great move. All these stocks here that we called out this past week had great moves. HMY, the stock is up today 3%. Yesterday, this thing really moved. You guys can see, this thing just skyrocketed up. It's up about 15% in 3 trading sessions, which is really nice. LRCX, you guys can see, great move. This thing here hit that really hard support here on the price. So you guys can see the really hard price supports. Boom, buying pressure, buying pressure, buying pressure. I know the only issue we had was the RSI being a little higher, near and around about a 30. I mean, it wasn't that higher, but it was higher if you look back at like this, where it's trading for a 26. This seems super high at a 30, but reality of it, this could have been a great move here. Then we have GFI. GFI finally started moving. I mean, I really didn't enter this position. I wasn't a huge fan, and you can see just a good amount of trend that we have, good amount of support on that trend line. We just didn't enter. There's better opportunity. I felt like the hourly here, you guys can see it broke out finally of that trend. You guys can see that channel trend like this. So the best entry would have been pretty much right here, about 13, obviously 13.36, entering on that breakout of the trend and the moving average line. So today you guys should get the trend strategy, just so for all the course members. It should be up by, I would say, midnight tonight. Okay. But yeah. But all right. PSTG. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull it up. PSTG here. Pure Storage. All right, so this thing here sold off, you guys can see, due to earnings. Took a couple days for it to recover. Looking at the daily here. Looks like we've looked at this one in the past. RSI right now is at a 39. Let's see. Let's go back to this. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. You can see the general trend it's forming. That nice little reversal trend there. Hits it a couple of times. So what I would do here, there's two approaches, right? You could set an alert for 47 and try to enter on that trend and the 90-day, or you could enter on the breakout of the 200. I wouldn't enter at its current price Not saying you can't make money off it, right? But what I wouldn't want to see is it hit that 200-day and it gets some resistance and sells off a little bit, and you either get stopped out or you get scared. So I would either wait for a breakout at 49.99 or enter at 47 if you're gonna enter, because you can see here, let's see, look back at previous. So it broke out, curled down, hit it, rallied up. Yeah, so that's what I would do personally if you're gonna trade it. But yeah, you can see just the general line that formed looks pretty good, not too shabby. What else do we have? We have TRMD, a stock that is finally breaking out the nice trend on the hourly. I was watching this thing all week. You can just see this thing form this nice trend. It was just, we went heavy with some other positions. So I don't know. I really like these setups though, where you have that confirmation. You can see where it hits that point as resistance, sells off, breaks up above it, establishes new support from the old resistance, hits it, boom, buying pressure, buying pressure, buying pressure. This one here would have been good because you could have entered at a pretty decent price and put your stop below the 200-day. But live and learn, right? Trading, it's all about just honestly just base hits and just focusing on the day-to-day. We were looking at DO for a minute. Nothing really happened that made this thing interesting. And I do want to I know we had some questions about, let me pull it up here. Let me go to the groups tab. Somebody asked me, they said, why did I have a feeling energy was gonna have a good move? Well, I really was just looking at the past month and 3 month performance, and the past year to year and a half, and just the previous past of energy hasn't been very well. So I was thinking eventually we'll get some sort of turnaround from it, and we actually had a relatively decent day today and past couple of days from energy. That's all. I always just look at I look at the low or the highs stocks that are really getting good buying pressure, and then I also will look at the lows and just seeing if there's a possible reversal. That's all I meant by it. Nothing too crazy from it. But yeah, it's been a really nice week. I'm excited for this upcoming week. But you always got to stick to it, right? So like if you're in a position and you're up, and maybe at least for me, I'm up in the past couple of weeks here, I'm up, I would say, about $5-6 grand. Sometimes when I get on a little bit of a hot streak, I go too heavy, and so I always got to make sure I take a step back and look, continue to follow my checklist and just evaluate positions. And making those good trades, right? I heard Warren Buffett talk about this. He said, if you could buy one stock, you'd make sure you knew everything about that. And with trading, obviously, you're going to be in more positions than one. But if you could trade one stock per week, you'd make sure it was the best stock. So, stick to that. That's the mindset I've always had, is just trade the best, leave the rest. And just focus on base hits, and you'll be in a great spot, guys. We'll end it here, though. I hope you guys all enjoyed this. If you guys are watching, make sure you guys use code LIONS to get 50% off our course, private live streams, quizzes, lectures, all of that good stuff. And we'll end it here, guys. I know we went a little early this week, but yeah. So, guys, I hope